Hello there and welcome again to my workshop. Today's video we are going to connect the SMC up to the controller of the 800 watt 110 volt DC spindle of this CNC router. I'll show you how to do that and how to do the settings within the SMC controller to make it all work. So the first thing I'm going to do is put a G-code into the controller so we have something running in the background. Now what it is, it's a circular pocket of 100 millimeters, and I've set the cut depth to be 1 millimeter, step over 2 millimeters. I've set the RPM of the router to be 10,000 RPM. So we have a G-code file in there that will be running in the background so we can have something for the spindle to do through the G-code. So we will open this USB drive. See, 100 millimeter diameter. I've actually got 6 millimeter cutter there, but that doesn't really matter because we're going to be actually air cutting this. Open, and now that is in the controller. Now to make sure we know it's in the controller, we press this here and we can read the file. Here it is here. To get out of that, press escape. So now what I'm going to do is I will run that file. I'm going to test the output in the back of the SMC controller to see if the controller is actually feeding information out. So the first thing I'm going to do is come to Machine, open it, now come to the spindle, open that. Now we only have to change two things here. We have to switch the analog scale on because I'm going to be using the 0 to 10 volt output of the controller. There are two outputs. There's PWM, which is normally used for a 3-phase rotor spindle, but we are using a 0 to 10. So we come here, highlight that to green, press 1. 1 means, well, you're activating it. 0 means it's not activated. Another thing we need to change here, because this is set up for 24,000 RPM, and what you're doing by altering this is telling the controller, then you're giving the controller a sort of a maximum range of RPM, so it has some value then of RPM in the 1 to 10 volt output scale. So we come out of that, come to here, highlight that, and we are going to go 20,000. Come out of that and we'll save our changes. No need to change anything else in here unless you want to have mist switched on counterclockwise, clockwise. This is commands that it recognizes or will recognize in the G-code. You just need to turn them on. And we're going to save that because that's all we want to change. We're going to exit that. And now we're going to check. So press the reset, make sure that's not flashing. Now I'm going to check to see if there is an output on the 0 to 10 volt. Okay, so you can hear I've got the rotor running actually at 5% of the code, because I just want it running quietly in the background. Here's a voltmeter. Let's just make sure you can see that. you can. Now, I'm not sure what 10,000 RPM would actually register as a voltage, but we're about to find out. So we have to find the right pinouts here for the 0 to 10 volt. So we want a ground, and there's the 0 to 10 volt there. So it's the second one up and the fifth one up. So we'll put this in the ground. The second one up. And the fifth one up is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, it's pretty well about 5.1 volts. If I can, that's better. So it's 5.14 volts there. That's representing 10,000 RPM. So what I'm going to do is, if I can reach round and hold that, and I'm just going to raise the speed up on the controller, which is here. One push, 5.6 volts, and that's representing how many? That's representing 11,000. So it's going up in 1,000, 12,000, 13,000 RPM. So we know the output is actually working. So we'll stop that now. So we know we got the output switched on. So what I'm going to do now is put in a green and a red wire, which gives me the negative and positive feed to the power and regulator supply down there for the spindle. One of the good things about this controller is that the plugs actually come out and make it very accessible for you to put wires in. So we should just make sure that's back in and home. A couple of things we need to do before we can connect this in. I'll show you now. Okay, so this is the power output and control for the spindle. This is a 240 volt in, or actually 110 as well. So it's switchable between 110 and 240, and it's 110 DC variable voltage out. Now at the moment it's on a variable pot here that controls the spindle, or the amount of voltage out, and that's how I've been using it, which is connected into this terminal here. Now we want to connect into this terminal down here, the lower one. It's got a positive and negative written on it. But before we do anything, any disconnecting or anything like that, these actually need to be disconnected, because otherwise it won't work. You can't have two systems connected into the one unit. So I'm going to shut this machine down now, so make sure there's no power going to it, and we will take these wires out and reconnect the new wires in. I'll try and stay the way so you can see what's going on. Probably made this difficult for myself, but here we go. These plugs do not pull out, by the way, so you've got to struggle like this. That's one. I'm trying to keep my head out of the view of the camera there and do the job at the same time. 1, 2, and 3. Always power everything off and unplug it before you do anything like this. Now what we're going to do, get some good insulation tape here. and just insulate these so you know they don't touch any electrical components. This can come up here out the way. I'll zip tie it later on. This may not work, I'm sure it will, but so judging by the what's printed on here, positive is in the bottom, so put the negative in first. Not easy to get to. Trying to kick my fingers out the way so you can see as well. You don't have to over tighten these, or any little tiny screws. That's firm. Now this one. Okay. Sometimes you need 3 hands. Okay. So now I should just hook this up somewhere and close the door like that. With a bit of luck, we should have a working spindle via the controller. Okay, so let's put this program back in. And the USB, there's the file there. Open the file again. I like to use this controller to read directly off the memory device rather than load into the memory of the controller, although there's an 8 gig internal memory of this which will accept, you know, a lot. I just prefer to let the controller read directly off this. A lot of people have asked me that. That's my personal view of it. Escape. Okay, so let's run this file. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to set this up as though it was a new job. So what I'm going to do is press this C with a line through it, and we're going to set the zeros. So we press OK. You can either press OK or this button, doesn't really matter. It does the same job. 0 and 0. So now we've artificially zeroed the work piece. Then I'll escape out of that, and now what I want to do is I want to set the feed rate all the way down. I mean, I just don't want it taken off and just running normal. We'll pick it up in a minute. Feed rate. So if you notice the percentage of feed rate coming down, I'll run it at 10%. That'll be fine. So now we'll press run and see. Hopefully the spindle's going to fire up. So here we go. It's looking at the file and saying, "Oh, because I stopped it mid." So what I'm going to do is just say continue and run. There we go. So I brought the feed rate up now to 100%. The RPM of the spindle is at 100%, but just to make sure we can alter it. 12,000, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, no problem at all. Very controllable. And stop. So, there you are. We just had to alter 2 settings in the controller and connect 2 wires, disconnect the other 3 wires which was connected to this pot, variable control, and it's working. How easy is that? I would have to say that this is easier. It is much simpler to connect this controller up to control a CNC machine than what Mark 3 or Mark 4 is. You know, these controllers seem to have taken all the complex, or you know, complex settings out of things, and with the new firmware now, I do understand there is a anti-backlash setting on it as well. I don't have any backlash problems at all with this, so I don't use it. I can cut within 1/1000th of an inch, and you know, you really don't need to do that in wood. It's only when you're making precision parts, you know, in metal, that you would need, you know, sort of to go lower than 1/1000th of an inch. This will hold it pretty well. So there you go. I'm very happy with the controller. A lot of people are asking me if I recommend it, and I would have to say, well, yes, I do. It's probably one of the only standalone controllers at this price I would suggest, and I must say that I am not associated with SMC, the manufacturers, the suppliers. I bought this myself, and as always, if I acquire something and I think it's good, I'll tell you about it. So this is me telling you about it. Okay, so there we are. Very simple job, really. I thought it was going to be a lot harder than that, but no. Very straightforward. I'm very happy. So, if you've liked the video today, please like and subscribe down there, and call in and see some of my other videos. And if you've liked the video, pass it on to your friends, because that's how the channel grows. If you're interested in my channel and assisting the channel to grow and keep going, you could always become a patron, and the information for that is also down below this video in the video description area. And I thank you all very much for watching the video, and I hope it's entertained you and maybe passed on a little bit of information too. So, bye for now.